We've all felt it, that excitement when we are starting a new project, we're starting a new novel, we're writing a new song, whatever it is. So we start with so much excitement and we tell ourselves that, okay, this is not going to be like all those times where I started projects that I had not finished. That this time around, I'm actually going to finish it. So we start, but somehow like we lose momentum and decide to stop. So in this video, we're going to tackle finishing what we start. But we're not going to discuss all these reasons why we can't finish what we start, because we already know them. We know it's procrastination. We know it's perfectionism. We know it's fear of failure. We know it's a lot of things, and it's a mixture of all these things too. So we already know them. But what we're going to do in this video is to formulate a plan so that next time when we start something, we can actually finish it. So I started writing this novel and I finished the first draft. But finishing the first draft doesn't mean that you have actually completed the novel, because the first draft is only like maybe 30% of the whole thing, and you still have to do edits and write second draft and third draft and so on. So I started the second draft and slowly I just realized that I was procrastinating. I didn't want to write any other thing. I was only focusing on chapter 1 because I didn't want to touch the other chapters. So I was like, no man, like, you have half finished stories everywhere. Like, why do you want this one to become one of them? This was a story that you started and you were so excited. Even before you started it, like, you were just so excited to like want to write it. And now like you're writing it and you are deciding that, oh no, you don't want to do this. I just sat down and I'm like, okay, why don't I want to write it? And I realized that, okay, I felt that the story was too much for me. It was too big. Maybe I felt that I could not handle the themes of the story, and I was just focusing on chapter 1 because chapter 1 was like just a simple part of the story. And let me just try to make chapter 1 very good, but like the other chapters are just horrible. Obviously, it's perfectionism. You want something to be very good, but you're not even moving. So once I dissected all that, I said, okay, it was perfectionism, and because of that, I was actually procrastinating. When it was time for me to write, I was like, no, let me just do something else. So I decided that, no ma, you're going to finish this novel by fire, by force. So this video is just me sharing the things that I have put in place to make sure that that novel becomes like complete, like 100% done. So you can take as many tips as you want. You don't have to take all of them. You can take 2 or 3 or 4, whatever. But we just need to finish it. We can't carry unfinished work to our graves. Like, everything must come out of our head. Do you understand? Number 1, setting deadlines. If you don't give yourself deadlines, your brain is going to think like you have all the time in the world to actually finish it. If you give yourself 10 years to complete a task, it's going to take 10 years for you to complete that task. If you give yourself 2 months to do something, you should have finished by 2 months. And you must be very strict to yourself. You can give yourself 2 days to finish a short film, but it just means that the stricter you are with your deadlines, like your quality is going to decline a little bit. But if you don't mind, like if you just want to finish things, like okay, that I've actually finished making 2 short films, I'm actually finished writing 10 novels, like if you just want to finish it, then maybe it's good that your quality like declines a little bit. Number 2, hold yourself accountable. So you can get a friend that holds you accountable and tell that friend that, okay, by next month I want to have learned the piano, and that friend is going to be looking at you and be reminding you that, okay, have you done this, have you done that? And you don't want to disappoint that person because you have already told the person, and the person is like hoping and has expectations that you're actually going to do that thing. So if you're the kind of person that you don't care if you're disappointing somebody, then you can raise the stakes. You can tell your friend that, okay, if I don't write 1,000 words today, like come and collect 1,000 naira from my bag. Do you understand? So nobody likes to lose money. So hold yourself accountable to somebody that will actually make sure that you will do it. And don't get somebody that is very lenient, that you tell the person that, oh, I was tired today, that's why I could not write. The person has to be very strict on you so that you'll be able to do it. Because lenient people, let's say by the end of week 1, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I was so tired. That friend is just going to say, oh yeah, rest. We want somebody that is strict, that will make you cry. Do you understand? The third tip is minimize distractions. So if you're walking and your phone is beside you, what are you going to do? You're going to pick up your phone. You're going to scroll through TikTok. You're going to scroll through Instagram. So you just have to minimize your distractions. You have to freeze your apps. You have to turn off your notifications. And try as much as possible to have a list of things that you must not do. That, okay, while I'm making YouTube videos, I must not do so and so things. At this particular time when I'm working, I can't check my phone. I can't be distracted. So have that list and minimize distractions. So the fourth tip is to remember why you started. So for example, you're learning Photoshop and it's getting too hard. And you're like, maybe I should just go and learn something else. Maybe Photoshop is not for me. You need to remember why you started, because remembering why was actually going to give you that drive. Because sometimes that motivation will fade away and you have to push yourself. Remembering the reason why you started is actually going to push you faster and better than, oh, you're just excited that you started this new thing. The fifth tip is actually easy. It's just to keep streaks. Let's say you have like a paper of day 1 to 30 and you're like, okay, day 1 I actually did this, day 2 I did it, day 3 I did it. Like, you don't want a blank day in your calendar. So you want to actually keep the streaks, because everybody likes to win. Nobody wants to, like, okay, I missed this day and this day is like blank. So number 6, if you are afraid of failure and the reason why you want to stop is because you're afraid of failing at it, just tell yourself that you can't really fail at something if you finish it. You'd have at least learned something, because you'd have learned so much more than if you did not start. Number 7, if you have an issue with perfectionism, just remind yourself that finished is always better than perfect. Spending hours on a particular line in your poem because maybe it's not good enough or something is just wrong with it is not going to be productive. There's no such thing as perfect. So what can be perfect to somebody can be rubbish to another person. So trying to fix that perfect line, that perfect poem, that perfect whatever is not going to make sense. I know that perfectionism is actually more complex than this, and I've spoken about it in my podcast, but just try as much as possible not to fixate over these things, because if you spend too much time on it, you're not going to move on. You're not going to create new things. So it's something that everybody faces, starting and not finishing things. Would you rather be the person that is in the grave and you're like, oh, I wish I had more unfinished works? Or would you be the person that be like, okay, at least all my ideas are out in the world, like I actually finished them? Life is short and time is not enough. So you need to be bringing out the things down your head so that other people can appreciate them. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button so that YouTube will understand that it was actually very valuable. And if you're not subscribed, you should subscribe and watch this video next.